I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10 by 7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, 'cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sa-na-na, sa-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. Singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Fuck.
All right, put down your pens, put down your pencil, step away from the keyboards, and settle in for this week's bout of Writer's Block. Today's guest that I have on is Elly Mae. Elly, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really liked that song. I'd never heard it before, but it was great.
That funny. Okay, so one of our regular listeners is a guy named Brian Wolf. And I was in Alaska over the summer for a couple of months, and he sends me this video on YouTube, and he was like, dude, check out this song. And it was by this band called The Narcissist's Cookbook, which as a self-proclaimed narcissist, I was like, well, I got to check this guy out. And I love the song. It was called Courtney. It's about Courtney Love, and it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started looking up everything that this guy did, and then I started following him on Facebook. And I sent him a message. I was like, dude, I really like your work. Now we're friends on Facebook. We talk all the time. He sends me his music. He's like, yeah, this is a new one I'm working on. Let me know what you think. And I'm like, cool, thanks. He's over in England. I've never even met the guy. Great guy.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, big fan of the Narcissist Cookbook here at the Writer's Block. First and foremost, I need to thank, after I introduce you, of course, apparently today, is Low Tide Kava Bar or Grassroots. I don't know. I just grabbed this one out of my fridge. Not 100% sure where the kava is coming from today. So Low Tide Kava Bar and Grassroots Kava House. Thank you. I'm not really sure, but Buluvanaka. Also, thank you to Muddy Waters Media for allowing me to do this show. And thank you to Don and Sally Wright for giving birth to me, because that's a gift to the world. It's true. It's a gift to the world.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
So tell our viewers / listeners a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Elly Mae. That's my real name. Well, my first name is Alyssa, but I go by Elly forever. I've been in politics for about 6 years. I've made videos for a long time. Once I started seeing the light, I just had to talk about it. I've been surrounded by people my age who might not think the same way. So I try to discuss it in a way that might draw them in a little bit and see things differently. I've worked for Dinesh D'Souza a little bit. I've worked for various conservative sites. I do a lot of my own stuff. My Instagram is actually getting very big. I didn't think that was even worth going into, but apparently it is. It's amazing. So yeah, I just like to talk about politics, and normally I'm very nice about it, but not always.
I have found that recently it has been easier and easier for me to be really nice about politics recently. I can have
Yeah.
the most civil conversations with some people, even if we disagree. But other
Yeah.
people, like immediately, as soon as it starts getting to a point of anger, like I'm just out. I'm like, I don't want to.
I'm I'm out, or I just think it's funny. And I have a problem of not taking things probably seriously enough, because I find when you do, life gets really hard and it sucks and you're miserable. So I have comedic relief in everything. And I think that also, while it might be a self-medication for myself, it also makes certain people angrier as we speak, because people don't necessarily find things funny. They think I'm mocking them when in fact I'm not. I just find the topic to be stupid and whatever. So
Right. Yeah, I was talking with a couple of people at this kava bar the other night, and I am one of those many libertarians that think all drugs should be legal. And I said that out loud at a bar full of former addicts and or
oh my gosh.
recovering addicts, I guess would be a better way to put that, because none of us are former addicts. We're all just in recovery. And this girl was like, "How can you say that?" And I was like, "Well, by using the words, I really think all drugs should be legal. It's just a sentence." And then she started questioning it. And we had a really civil conversation about it. And I was talking with her boyfriend, I think it was the next day or the day after. And he was like, she was really surprised how calm you stayed during that entire conversation. You didn't get mad. I was like, why would I get mad?
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly. It's as simple as that. And when you're well researched in areas, it's easy to stay calm because you're not running on pure emotion. Of course, emotions are involved, but it's not, you're just looking at things how they are. And this is what I think because of A, B, and C. And it makes it a lot easier to stay calm.
Right.
So,
Yes. So, big news of the day. The cloture. Why can I not say cloture?
yeah.
Okay, I am saying that right. I was like,
I think
I
we'll
think
go with
yeah.
that. It's fine.
Yeah, the cloture vote happened today, and it, not surprising to me, passed. I was a little shocked at Manchin from West Virginia switching over, but also I know he's in a tight race, so I think he kind of is stuck in a spot where he has to. What are your thoughts on this entire, from beginning to end on the Kavanaugh thing? What are your thoughts? We've been covering it in just such
I could talk
detail.
about this for like 3 hours.
I know. So
No, I'm just
excited.
kidding. For starters, yeah, I'm not surprised either. I was getting a little nervous because of, the few who were switching and all of these things. I was kind of surprised that Flake voted yes. I watched, what was her name? Susan Collins give her long speech after voting yes, that she's going to stick with the yes vote tomorrow. She's actually for abortion. She's a Republican, but she's for abortion. So people were kind of thinking she might say no.
Right.
And yeah, Manchin switching, that was, I'm happy about that, obviously. And mostly, I think I'm happy out of principle because I watched these hearings and I completely, and this is hard for me to say, as a woman, but I believed Kavanaugh. And I made a video about it. I got very, very angry because I watched the hearings from start to finish, and I just saw right through all of it. I mean, from my perspective, in my opinion, it was a complete and total smear campaign against him. And the only reason I think that is because of the past behavior of Democrats and how they have been, and the mud they just throw, the constant mud they just throw just to try to get something to stick. They'll lie, they'll do anything. And, both sides obviously have their issues.
Agreed.
But to me, I saw this as a complete just setup. And after listening, and I saw people on Facebook who surprised me in how they were addressing this. So I got very angry, and I do not get angry often. It never happens. Like I said, it's all comedic relief to me. But I wrote up this quick thing about being disgusted, and I essentially read it on a video, and it picked up a huge reach which was very scary because I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm going to open the door to the left just attacking me. This is going to be scary. But what I heard instead, because on the video, I said, I've been a victim myself. And with that in mind, I went into this, wanting to believe her, all of these things. What I got in response to that video were hundreds of women talking about them being victims as well and believing Kavanaugh after watching the hearings. And so the left tries to keep sexual assault victims on their side and try to claim, like they try to claim all women, they try to claim all A, B, and C person, and they try to claim all sexual assault victims. But I was pushing back against that with all of these responses, putting that into cyberspace, saying, no, this is not always the case. These women are standing with Kavanaugh. And it was just crazy to see what unfolded. And, no matter who the pick was going to be, whether it was Kavanaugh or whatever else guys were on Trump's list, there was one woman, but the men on the list, I believe that Democrats somehow got women to write letters about all of those
about
men.
Every one of them. I could see that. I could see that being true. Like, I don't like to.
That's how I felt, that because of how this was handled. And I was like, not saying that they did. And I'm sure there's worth to some of these claims and everything. But I was just like, this is insane. And yeah, so I believe him. And that's that.
I personally, I took off of work that day because I wanted to watch that, and I wanted to watch all of that. And so I was watching her, and when I was watching her, there were a few times that I was like, okay, maybe she's not lying. Except the only problem that I had with her was she couldn't remember when, she couldn't remember where, she couldn't remember who exactly was at the party. She thought she knew the people, but then she thought, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong since nobody's backing up this story. And then but when she was asked about, has the polygraph been paid for? And she said, I don't know. Like, I'm like, okay, you have to know something other than it's him. Yeah. You have to know anything else. Anything else. And then when he came on and he did his speech, which has been divided basically down party lines, from what it appears to me. People are either, he definitely, look at how he acted. I'm like, he was accused of gang rape. Like, of course you're going to act like that. I would.
That is insane. And to suggest that his demeanor was off, it's just crazy. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it's down party lines. I definitely think this Dr. Ford has been through something. I don't know. I don't even necessarily think that. I just think she's not stable. I hate to say that, but my sympathies for her, because clearly she's just not right. And
I was gonna say,
I'm so sorry to say, but like,
no matter what, like, I do think something did happen to her, and I hate that she has to go through what she's going through. But at the same time,
are we going to let a man be completely taken down because of whatever? It's just
right. You can't take a guy down just based on an allegation. And the Democrats know this is true. They're just refusing it in this instance and with many other instances. But like, they know it to be true because Keith Ellison.
I know.
Keith Ellison, the lawyer that was hired, said, no, we can't take this any further because it's only an accusation and there's no actual proof.
Wow.
And an accusation does not mean guilt. To which it was like, well, come on, guys, you're both sides
playing
here.
Both sides.
You're playing both sides here. Like, granted, the woman wasn't putting forth the video she claimed she had and everything else, but at the same time, it's like, do you believe victims or do you not believe victims? It's one or the other.
I mean, and it's such a repeated statement, but you can go back to Juanita Broderick and Bill Clinton and all of those things, and you will find probably 5% of leftists or Democrats who do believe all women, but the rest of the 95% pick and choose.
Yeah.
And I've always said, I'm just really glad that I haven't been sexually assaulted by a Democrat in power, because that would go nowhere and he wouldn't be taken down or anything. And that's really disturbing. And they claim they're the party for women, and it's so disgusting. I mean, seriously.
I'm suddenly very worried to have you read that script I sent you.
Oh. Oh, I can't wait. No, I'm very interested. We should put it on the air.
Yeah, I'm suddenly very terrified to have you read that. For anybody that doesn't know, I also, in my free time, which there's not much of, I'll get idiotic ideas and I turn them into short movies. And I sent one to Spike, my partner here at the Muddied Waters, and he thought it was hilarious and it's supposed to be a horror movie. So I sent it to Elly and I was like, hey, will you tell me if this is funny? Because I don't think it's supposed to be. And it's a very politically charged horror movie, is all I'm going to say.
I seriously can't wait. And if Spike thinks it's funny, then I'm sure I'll think it's either funny too, or I'll just appreciate the work in general.
Right.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we have the vote, and I think it's going to be 51-49, just like it was today. Mm-hmm. I think we may have to wait until Sunday to know, mm-hmm. because of Senator Baines. What's that?
The wedding, right?
The wedding guy. Yeah, the wedding guy. I can't remember his name right now.
I can look it up.
He's going to his daughter's wedding, which is tomorrow, and then he's so they were like, what about him? And it's like, well, he can vote Sunday. That'll be fine.
Yeah, that's so weird to me, but whatever. I think Senator Daines, is that his name?
Daines, because I kept typing in Daniels accidentally earlier when I was trying to research him. Yeah, Senator Daines. So yeah, he's supposed to be at a wedding, and mm-hmm. but if it ends in a 50-50 tie, Mike Pence is the deciding vote. Right. Which
there's so many historic things going on. It's just incredible. And yeah, I don't. Did you catch any of Susan Collins' speech?
I did not. No, I was out working all day today.
Oh my gosh! So it was like over a half an hour long. And she covered every inch of absolutely everything, so that, she could basically refer back to the thoroughness of her choosing yes. And, she's getting yelled at, shame, 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 or whatever, all these crazy protesters. So also she pointed out the person who leaked this letter or whatever to the press, which I think obviously came from Dianne Feinstein's office.
100% that came from the political theater that she pulled during those hearings. Of did you leak that letter? Did you leak? No, they said no. Yeah, that's not how that works.
Oh my gosh, and her having the Alaska senator against the wall, like with her arm up, like she's threatening her. I don't know if you saw that picture.
I saw that.
I mean, she's just a ghoul, honestly. But so Susan Collins ripped the leaker, and it was so amazing to hear. She was going all in and just, really holding whoever leaked it accountable, which we kind of know who that is. But.
Right, yeah. I'm pretty certain everybody knows who it is. It's just...
I got into an argument with someone on the left who was like, you don't have proof that she leaked it. And I'm like, you realize we're talking about something, you're accusing Kavanaugh of something that you don't have proof of right now, and you're telling me I don't have proof. Like, do you see how ridiculous this is? Like, It's just this circle of insanity. She said, everything.
Nothing about this entire situation makes any sense. It's insane. Like, he should probably already be in office.
Yeah.
Odds are. And personally, if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago, I would not have been rooting for him. I'm still not technically rooting for him.
Yeah.
I don't like him all that much. I don't like his stances against the Fourth Amendment. I think he's awful on that. I think he's awful on civil liberties. But what they have done to try to, if the Democrats would have sat there and faced it and been like, he helped, he co-authored the Patriot Act, he believes in illegal search and seizure. If they would have gone that route, they may have possibly won, but they didn't. They were like, oh, well, no. We have this completely unsubstantiated claim from this woman that this man sexually assaulted her 36 years ago when most of our base wasn't alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go with that instead of being like, hey, yeah, this guy likes to spy on you privately, and he's the reason, one of the reasons that you have to put a piece of tape over your webcams at night. Like, no, let's ignore that, and let's talk about this unsubstantiated claim that we've got from 36 years ago when Reagan was in his first term.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way.
Right. Like half the Democrats' base is going to be probably under 36.
Yeah, exactly.
So
crazy.
So yeah, we've got the vote tomorrow, and the vote will probably tomorrow. I think it's going to be 50 to 49. So do they need him to? I honestly don't know the answer to this question. Do they need him to vote in order to have it go? Do they need 51, or would 50 to 49 pass him? And then,
well, if it was a tie, then Pence would just break it. So I don't know.
But if it's
I don't
50,
know the answer either.
Yeah. I mean, if it's 50, is he a Democrat or a Republican?
I think he's a Republican.
Okay, so if it's 50 to 49 and he's going to vote, like... Yeah, so I guess they really don't need him to vote, but...
Yeah, I can't wait till this just...
I can't either.
...moves on, and, we can get back to the normal stuff of defending ourselves from being bigots. I can't wait to get back to that.
One of my really good friends is in... We both grew up in the D.C. area, and she's back visiting, and she's took one of her friends out there, and they're going sightseeing in D.C. tomorrow. And she said, how bad is it going to get? And I said, I wouldn't.
Yeah, no. I think I would, because that'd be so fun.
Right, yeah. You and me, that's what I said. I said, no, personally, I would go. But you, maybe
don't.
You're also Russian.
Oh, my God.
So... possibly not the greatest option for you is to go and check that out. But knock yourself out. Have fun. Yeah, so I'm actually really excited what's going to happen over the next week anyway. And then when he gets in, obviously abortion's going to be banned and women aren't going to have any rights left and they're not going to be able to vote or drive or do anything. I don't know. I'm
a horrible driver anyway. I'm just kidding. I'm actually not, but I like to use this stereotype because it's funny. I have a sense of humor, unlike our leftist friends.
Right.
But I'm excited. Last night I went to see Dinesh D'Souza speak. Actually, he was in town, and he was talking all about Trump and how the left does A, B, and C. He was going back in history about slavery and all of these very controversial things. And in my head, I thought, gosh, I wonder how the staff of these speeches feel. And not long after that, the fire alarm went off and we had to evacuate.
Oh.
And I'm not saying anyone pulled it, but it was very interesting.
But the timing is suspect at the very least.
Very suspect.
Right.
And so we all had to evacuate. It got kind of scary because we weren't exactly sure what was going on. Dinesh tried to continue his speech, but then we walked out. He eventually finished his speech, so we went back in and everything. So, but yeah, I thought that was very interesting. He's talking about how finally Trump is the person who will kick back people in the shins because the left has been doing that to us for so long, and finally Trump is the person who will stand up to them. And suddenly, I'm like, oh my gosh, good gracious, it was funny.
My very first week here in Florida, I was doing sightseeing, and I'm in the Pinellas County area, and I was at Fort DeSoto. I was down at Fort DeSoto, and I was just kind of checking out the area, and I look out, and there's these 3 huge pirate ships out in the ocean, and I was like, what's going on? Like, got no clue. And so I go over, and I'm checking it out, and they're filming a movie. And years later, well, probably a year later, I found out that it was a Dinesh D'Souza movie.
How interesting. interesting.
Yeah, I found that out when I was like, I was like, oh, I don't remember which one it is, but
That's so cool.
apparently they were doing the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Marina. They were doing the landing of Columbus, and I was like, oh, okay.
That is cool.
Yeah, I was like, that.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Pirates of the Caribbean or something.
No,
I was like, interesting, but that's very cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. I kind of like that guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, does he have any new movies coming out? Is he working on anything? Because if not, I've got a great short film for him.
He released one in over the summer.
Okay.
And it was giving historical context to fascism and how it is actually on the left. And he kind of goes in about, just the violent tactics of Antifa and the parallels with history. He talks about Lincoln, and he mentioned this in his speech last night. So on the cover of the movie, it's like Trump's face and Lincoln's face kind of morphed together.
Right.
And he's like, everyone is saying, Dinesh, why would you do that? He's in nowhere the same league as Lincoln. And Dinesh was like, I bet Trump thinks the same thing. Lincoln's nowhere in the same league as me. And I mean, I think it was just kind of a provocative cover. But with the context of the movie, it does make sense. Just sort of this divisive climate that we're in, and what Lincoln was sort of dealing with, obviously the Civil War. He kind of draws parallels to that, but it's not even saying that they're in the same boat. It's just very interesting to see a nation so divided, and what kind of leader it takes to either make that worse or make it better. And so, yeah.
He has one of my favorite quotes of all time where he said, MLK was targeted by, CIA guy. Leonardo DiCaprio played him in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah.
J. Edgar Hoover was targeted by J. Edgar Hoover, a really seedy character, and I've been targeted by Barack H. Obama, a really seedy character, and I was like, what?
It's a similar thing with the morphing of the face.
I was like, okay, you're MLK.
What are you saying here? I think that's funny. Yeah. He likes to provoke certain reactions, and I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And I think people are understanding that in a way we have to sort of take on some of the left's tactics. It's so funny. You hear people say everything has to just be fact. The left goes purely on emotion. So then the right, or, people on the right, they decide to be void of emotion. And that is so problematic because we are emotional beings.
That's true.
And when we just go, straight, and I'm totally about numbers and stats and facts and all of those things, but to have an absence of emotion, you're not going to win over people. We're going to sound like robots, and people are going to be like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, why would I? So I was thinking about that today, and thinking like Ben Shapiro and people like that who are facts don't care about your feelings. Yes, that's true.
That's true, but my feelings do.
But yeah, exactly. So
yeah, Ben Shapiro. I have a love-hate with that guy. Like,
same.
I have a love-hate with him. He does some things, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. Because like I enjoy watching the tiny little Jewish guy speak at speeds that are almost incomprehensible to me, like, and just so eloquently at the same time. It's just it's like, whoa, Ben.
Yeah.
Take a valley. Are there any interesting political races going on where you are right now?
Political voices?
Races.
Races,
for the midterms.
Sorry. I'm in Oklahoma. It's a red state. There is nothing interesting here.
That's good. Okay.
But I knew
you were in the Midwest somewhere.
Sorry, what?
I knew you were in the Midwest somewhere. I just couldn't remember where in the Midwest.
Yeah. I mean, if you cared about details, obviously there are interesting things, but nothing viewers would care about. There is something, just being honest, there is something going on. So we have a state fair, and I am volunteering at the booth on tomorrow. actually. So controversy has stirred because we are putting up this sort of wall, and it involves a donation process. If you want to donate to the local GOP to fund elections, you can buy a brick, which is just a glittery rectangle that goes on this big poster board that is a wall. And you can spend $5 or $10 or $75, whatever, to write on the brick and put it on the wall, and also be funding GOP races here in Oklahoma. Well, obviously, that didn't go over well. It got taken down for a while, and there is massive opposition to this cardboard wall that is literally dividing the community. I mean, it's cardboard. Like, what are you talking about?
For anybody that just listens on SoundCloud, when she did literally, she used finger quotes.
Yeah, literally. It's insane. So I've never been a huge person who's like, oh my gosh, build the wall. Never been that way.
No.
But so anyway, the point is it's hilarious. And they put the wall back up, and I get to volunteer tomorrow. And I have a few notes in case some people come up to me, because I'm just going to start quoting Barack Obama and his stances on border security, because I don't want to have confrontation. I just want people to calm down and be nice and, not get mad at me for this cardboard wall that I have nothing to do with.
I'm just here working.
Yeah.
Please.
Lower taxes. Do you want a flyer? So that's going to be really interesting. My friend is also volunteering, so we have made a pact that if anyone confronts us, we will film. So if I get any juicy drama in the GOP booth, I will send some film over to you, because I'm sure it'll be very interesting.
Yes, it will. I'm very excited for all of this. Yeah, so here in Florida, we've got possibly the most exciting governor's race going on ever. It's basically Trump versus Bernie, if Bernie was a black guy, and Trump was, I think DeSantis is Hispanic. But Trump has endorsed DeSantis, Bernie's endorsed Gillum, and the polls are at 45-44 for Gillum.
Wow.
Yeah, which I find funny because Rick Scott is polling above Nelson, above Bill Nelson, and I'm like, so who's voting for Scott and Gillum? That makes zero sense to me whatsoever. Because usually if you're going to vote for Gillum, you hate Scott. So whatever. Yeah. But the media has been pushing this entire election as though it is what would have happened in 2016.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Give me a break. I can't with that election. Just get over it. Honestly, I can't.
I agree. Totally. I'm completely over it. The 2016 election is over and done, but they just keep trying to resurrect it because
it's like they don't go through the 5 stages of grief. Like, there is an acceptance stage that they need to get to.
I think they got stuck. I think anger is the 3rd one.
And it's the perpetual state.
Right. And they just were like, no, we've gone through all of the stages. We're just going to stick here now. We're just at anger. Because if you get over the anger and the hatred, that is when you lose. You never want to accept it. It's like, no, you kind of have to accept it eventually.
Yeah. Speaking of anger and Florida, David Hogg.
Oh, yeah. Man, I haven't heard from the most punchable face in the world in a while.
And speaking of Ben Shapiro, so his little friend Cameron Kasky, I don't know if you've heard of him. He basically co-founded an advocacy group,
March for Life.
He didn't co-found that one, but anyway, he's instrumental in March for Our Lives. But this kid, he went on Bill Maher and was like, "We're the experts. How dare you question us?" Da 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 da. Anyway, he's very vocal, anti-gun. He has changed his mind a little bit, actually.
Yeah, he's beginning to flip.
It's crazy. So he went to Texas, and some Texans talked to him, and he now realizes, this is profound, that just because someone disagrees doesn't mean they think doesn't mean that the world that they want to live in is going to go down in the crapper. He's like, oh, wow, people who disagree with me aren't just evil. They might, just have different views, a different approach to society. I'm like, hello, obviously. So he went on Ben Shapiro's show, actually, and says that he's actually going to get a concealed carry permit when he gets older. And if you hurt his family, he's going to hurt you. And this kid thought that owning a gun made you like inherently bad. And now he's kind of seen the light. He's still a liberal. But the fact that his mind could change to see that not everyone on the right is evil is remarkable. So thank you, whoever's in Texas. And
yeah, God bless Texas.
Mind.
For whoever that is in Texas, I will not wear my shirts making fun of Texas for at least 1 week. And I mean, that also goes a lot to speak to how we probably should not be looking to teenagers for federal guidelines on our laws. Oh. I feel as though we were really reaching on that because we were just like, well, the kids say we should get rid of the guns, so we should probably listen to the kids. And it's like, should we?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a great idea. Like if my parents did that when I was 16, I never would have gone to school and I would have probably started doing drugs a lot earlier than I did.
Same. Yeah, no, exactly. And he said, it was so hard for me as a 17-year-old who thought he knew everything to grasp that I didn't actually know everything. And I'm like, this is amazing. So
I want to know if he came up with that line or somebody wrote it for him, because that is...
He's very articulate, so I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, it was super cool. And I think it's progress in the right direction.
It is progress in the right direction. No, that's absolutely wonderful, actually. I had seen that he had been... I had seen the stuff online about it, but I hadn't looked into it because the work schedule that I've been pulling for the last 2 weeks because of campaigns and stuff like that has just been insane. And I'm like, oh, I've got so many things saved, and I'm like, I don't have time for that, because instead I want to write really weird screenplays and send them to people that I've never actually talked to.
Who would that be? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
No. So what I was going to say is this upcoming election, Spike and I are going to be doing a live broadcast through the entire thing, I believe. And if we would love for you to call in. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Also, we're going to be test running that on our 100th episode on Tuesday. So hopefully.
Wow, good job, guys.
I know,
that's
right?
Amazing.
I know. Very excited about that one. So if you could also call in then, that'd be awesome. Just,
absolutely.
Just say hi. I know that I said that I would try to get you out of here before 7. And I also have somewhere to be at 7:15. So
yeah.
But is there anything else that you wanted to pitch, talk about? Like, we can cover it in the next 10 minutes. We got it.
No, but I do really quick want to ask your thoughts on Kanye West in like a minute answer.
Okay. Kanye. Okay, I've never really liked Kanye West as a person, and that still hasn't changed. I can honestly say that I cannot name one Kanye West song, nor do I know if his music is any good. So, that being said, I appreciate the honesty and the fact that he is willing to literally risk it all, unlike Kaepernick, to say and do what he believes in right now. I mean, I always knew the guy was ballsy when he went on live TV after Katrina and said George Bush doesn't care about black people. And I was like, man, that guy is ballsy. I don't like him. And I still don't like him. But I respect the fact that he's always been 100% honest, even if I haven't even if I've rarely agreed with him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Sorry, my cat is using my door as a scratching post right now. Sorry if you can hear that, but
it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I've always loved Kanye West, so I just was wondering. Well, there was a time when I didn't like him because he got into some weird dark stuff. But yeah, no,
Is that like the Beyonce doing Satan worshiping black magic on her drummers or whatever that was?
I mean, like, I totally believe that. Yeah, no, so I think it's really cool. He's not the most articulate, but he's getting there, and I think it's awesome that he is branching out in his way of thinking, and that's very scary for his position. So he's getting mocked everywhere, but who cares? He's got this.
You know, and and I respect him for at least risking everything, because that's what he's doing. He is risking everything just to try to make a difference that he thinks needs to be made.
Yeah.
And again, I respect it. So good on you, Kanye.
Yeah. Cool.
Good on you. Well, thank you so much for coming on. As always, you are always welcome on my show, because you're fun to talk to. And every time you laugh, it makes all of my sound meters go all the way to red, and that's just hilarious to me, because I have those things way up.
I'm embarrassed. My face is red like the sound meter. No.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, thank you so much, though. It's been fun, and we'll for sure do it again.
Excellent. Yeah, hang out for just a minute, and I'm going to do the outro. And if you're still on after the outro, cool. Everybody else, tune in Tuesday for episode 76 of the Muddied Waters. Man, I've got too many shows going right now. Episode 76 of the Muddied Waters of Freedom, which is the 100th episode that we have put out. Very excited about this episode, and we will be doing live call-ins. God, I hope that works, since I'm promising it. And I will be putting that number out in just a little bit. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom, on Instagram at Muddied Waters of Freedom, on Twitter at Muddied_Waters. If you go to YouTube, search MW Media, Muddied Waters Media, and you can get the backlog of every video we have ever put out, including the often forgotten Mason Jefferson video of the puppet that used to be our chief correspondent. And you can find all of these anyway at muddiedwatersoffreedom.com. So get back to writing, get back to doing whatever it was you were doing before, because this is how we make a difference.
I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10-by-7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, 'cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. Singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help.